All right. Says we're live. You guys can hear me. Please let me know. We'll get this started. Not sure how many people will be here today. I know it's Mother's Day. You all have something else to do. I appreciate everyone that is here with me. And shout out to all the moms watching. Happy Mother's Day and happy Mother's Day to my mom as well, specifically. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day over in Ohio. But I am looking forward to the race today. Should be fun. Besides Chase Elliott, Noah Gragson, I guess Eric Jones, I think it's a pretty spread out slate. I think all the guys up top are pretty interchangeable, which does make this fun. It's not like we're all funneled on just one guy specifically. So I do think it'll be a pretty fun slate to build for, but at the same time, it's also going to be difficult because you're going to want to make so many other decisions. You always feel like you're leaving somebody out when you do that specific build, but you have to always remember everybody else is dealing with the same situation. So we'll run through it. Let me get everything stacked up here. What's up, Bullet? That's how you pronounce it. Yes, the over is free money always. Make sure you always take the over. But I want to scroll up to the top here and get the dono out of the way. Appreciate it from Chris Jenkins. It actually showed up last week, and it didn't for some reason. Not sure why. But he asked, starting with Larson and Reddick, then fill in with mid-pack, or try to force 3 DOMs and 3 punts. I don't really love the 3 punt route this week, just because I think the builds look a little bit better if you just go with 2 main guys up top, especially because I just don't really want to roll with Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson and say Tyler Reddick, all 3 in the same lineup. I think 2 is perfectly fine. But for all 3 of them to absolutely nail and get all the dominator points, I think it's going to be pretty difficult to do. And then you have to get to those 3 punts, which I do think there is some pretty decent mid-range plays this week. And you also have Chase Elliott at nearly $10,000 starting all the way back in 31st. Who has a much safer floor and a pretty high ceiling as well. And if you miss one of those dominators, your lineup's going to get kind of screwed. So I think mainly just 2 of the 10K guys is a perfectly fine way to build. And in some instances, I think 1 is fine because let's just say you went with Tyler Reddick, for example. You throw in Chase Elliott, you throw in Brad Keselowski. You want to go front row. I'm sure that's the best idea, but just for an example. So I don't think 3 of those guys makes the most sense to me, but 2 is perfectly fine. But since I ran projections and stuff, I'll let you guys know who is popping the most for me because, as I always say, it's just my first initial reactions on Saturday. So for me up top, it's really just Larson, Hamlin, Reddick, and Truex are kind of all the same elite plays to me. I'll be mixing and matching them and probably having pretty equal exposure to them. I would say on DraftKings, looks like Tyler Reddick and Martin Truex Jr. pop up a little bit better point per dollar wise compared to Larson and Hamlin, but they're all within just a couple of points. And I'm kind of warming up to these RFK cars. I forget exactly what I said in the preview video about them. I said they looked strong for tournaments, but they're actually projecting better than I thought they would. I'm having Keselowski optimal over 20% of the time, closer to 25%. And Chris Buescher showing up nearly 30% of the time for them, just because they're going to be, if they can stick within the top 5, top 10 for the majority of the race, they can steal fast laps and they can get that high finishing position potential. So I do like them for GPPs, wouldn't touch them in cash games though. And I do have a slight preference on Chris Buescher over Brad Keselowski just because we can get right around $2,000 or $1,500 in savings out of him. And I feel like they both have very similar upside. Although with Keselowski starting in the front row, I think it's a little bit more likely he could dominate, but I mean, Chris Buescher's right there. But I would assume Keselowski has more dominator potential. And I think he'll be pretty strong on the long runs today because we know how good he is at managing his tires and we've seen it throughout the season so far. Mid-range, it's kind of your obvious plays, Noah Gragson and Eric Jones. Gragson has been great this year, and just really a mediocre finish out of him will get the job done. I gave him a 19th place finish today. That equates to 42 fantasy points, which is more than enough, and there's upside for more, obviously. And then Eric Jones, the only concern is first race back from the back injury, but they gave him an extra week off because we all know Eric Jones crushes Darlington. I have him around 17, 18th place. Again, pretty pedestrian day. It's not like we're projecting him for a top 10. That still equates to nearly 40 fantasy points, which is more than enough to get the job done. So those are going to be cash game staples today in the mid-range. Eric Jones and Noah Gragson. I also think Chase Elliott will be I don't want to say a lock for cash games, but he's very high up in the list for me for a starting point. I just don't really think he's going to offer you that dominator potential. And then just some other guys I didn't really hit on, but the cheap plays that offer some PD that I think, but they are popping a lot for me. Josh Berry starting in 33rd. Austin Cindric showed some speed in practice. Again, I'm not really sure how much that speed will equate to the race, but it doesn't hurt that he was fast. I think he'll be decently popular starting in 25th. I don't mind Harrison Burton as our favorite punt play today. And then guys like Ricky Stenhouse Carson Hocevar and Justin Haley are showing up a little bit too. So kind of just a quick rundown there and some of the guys that are popping up a lot for me. And it's kind of the same guys on both sites, although the scoring is going to be a little bit different, so I'll have slight preferences either way. All right, let me just answer all your questions here. That's what I'm here for. I already said pretty much most of what I wanted to say in the preview video yesterday. And for those of you asking what bets I have this week, pretty light. I just have 0.9 units on William Byron to win a plus 850 or plus 900, whatever it was, because Caesars was offering a special boost for that, and I did a value on that. And based on what we saw in qualifying and practice, I don't feel too bad about that Byron bet. But that's all I got. There's nothing else just showing value for me. All right, go to the top here. What's up, Johnny T? So what's up, Chris? I always got to ask, what's your favorite cash game core must plays over on FanDuel? Appreciate what you do weekly for us. Appreciate that, Johnny. Yeah, if I'm over on FanDuel, I mean, Chase Elliott is just such a fantastic play on FanDuel. On DraftKings, I still like him a lot, but it's a little bit tougher to get to him because of the price point, and you're really sacrificing a dominator. FanDuel, those downer points just don't really matter that much. So, especially with how cheap he is over there, he's going to be a cash game lock on FanDuel. Same with Noah Gregson. And I think Eric Jones, you can make a case for him, or Martin Truex Jr., also being fantastic cash game plays over on FanDuel. So Clinton says, what do you think about Larson, Truex, Elliott, Barry, Cindric, Haley? I think it's a fine build. Again, those three guys in the 10K range, but Chase Elliott's just below that. So if you're forcing that, I actually don't hate that build at all, because Austin Cindric should have some speed. I gave him a 20th place finish. That's honestly a lot higher than I usually have for Austin Cindric. And Justin Haley at these more tire wear tracks just tends to kind of show up a little bit. So as far as a pump play, I think that's fine. And then you have Larson, Truex, who I absolutely love up top. Elliott starting in the back. And you just had Elliott twice there, so it was throwing me off first. But yes, I do like that build. It would follow the rules that I would build with today over on DraftKings. No problem at all. So smash the like button, give Chris his dues for his amazing content. Appreciate that very much, sir. What's up, Raphael? Says, how does 3 value drivers and trying to guess the 2 DOMs sound to you? I'm liking this strategy on FanDuel. Yeah, so my FanDuel, I have not built yet. You guys know I like to build afterwards after I talk through it with you all. I'm more of a cram builder anyway. But looking at my optimal lineups on FanDuel just to see how medium projections end up shaking out. Like my optimal on FanDuel right now is William Byron, Martin Truex, Chase Elliott, Eric Jones, Noah Gregson. And it's basically what they all look like. They're actually all Truex, Elliott, Jones, Gregson, then it just changes the top guy because the second lineup's Reddick. Then the next lineup is Hamlin, but it substitutes Barry in for, I believe, Eric Jones. So it's really just kind of that same core there, and then it just swaps a couple of drivers in almost every single one. But I don't usually like to punt on FanDuel too often. It doesn't look like there's really any super cheap plays that pop a bit. Austin Cindric at $5,000 I think is in play over there if you think that speed shows up. But other than that, unless you're really just trying to get wild, I don't really want to go below that too often. Especially if I'm doing like hand builds for single entries, 3 maxes, I try to go a little bit more balanced. What's up, Ryan? This is Hey Chris. Who are the must-play chalk 1 to 2 drivers and those decent-looking scrubs? Sub 1600 plays that look fast. Chalk and the heavy chalk cash play. Yeah, I mean, chalk for cash today, it's going to be Chase Elliott, it's going to be Eric Jones, going to be Noah Gregson. I think those are going to be 3 starting points for most people. The DOMs, I think Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson will probably end up being the highest owned DOMs today. But I'm kind of having a tough time between them. I do think with Reddick being on the pole, he's got great track history here. He's performed very well. We all know he can ride the wall, which is where you want to be at Darlington. So it makes sense. He'll be the chalk dominator. Cheap plays that are going to be chalky: Josh Berry, Austin Cindric, Harrison Burton for a punt. It's probably the route most people, some combination of that will probably be the most popular cash game lineup today. What's up, Sean? With the chalk FanDuel and DraftKings. Optimal lineup. I guess I already went through that. But optimal on DraftKings for me, and I'm not saying to play this, but this is the highest for me. Reddick, Truex, Busher, Jones, Gregson, and Cindric. Busher's popping a bit for me. It's mainly a price thing, and if he can hold track position. And we saw the speed last week, which was nice. I know Kansas is not Darlington, but nice to see that speed in the intermediate, especially the Ford, because they have been lacking all year. But I do think the RFK cars will be pretty strong this weekend. I know they were like tweaking something with the engines this week as well. And it showed up in practice at the very least. What's up, Mundos? Finished 9th last week in the $4 contest. Thanks to you. I appreciate that. But you got to give yourself a pat in the back as well because you built a line. But I'm glad you did well. Tito says, I wonder how Truex gets screwed over today. Yeah, Truex has not had the best luck at Darlington. He has ran extremely well here. I mean, I love Truex today. One of my absolute favorite plays. But the lady in the black he has met quite often. So let's just pull up the 4 Darlington races for Martin Truex Jr. So the fall race, he just wasn't very good. Started in 31st, finished 18th. Like, yeah, he moved up, but he just didn't really make much noise. Although Truex definitely did fade the end portion of last year. But if we look at the spring race, Martin Truex Jr. on the pole at 145 laps, ended up wrecking out. Which, the spring race of Darlington, it was going great. And then all the good guys wrecked at the end. Like I just said with Truex, he wrecked out. Ross Chastain led 93 laps, he wrecked out. Kyle Larson pretty much wrecked out, although he didn't DNF. But he still led some laps and was extremely fast all day. But it was a brutal race at the very end. We look at the 2022 Cookout Southern 500. Once again, Martin Truex Jr. led 48 laps from starting 17th, ends up wrecking out. And if we look at the spring race, Martin Truex Jr. leads 28 laps from 4th and once again wrecks out. Just been absolutely brutal luck for Truex. So hopefully that can change for him. One top 20 finish in the 4 next gen races for Truex. But that's why you don't just look at finishes, because he has been great. Juan says, what you think? Larson for the back-to-back, or does Hamlin pull it off? Talk to me, Chris. I'm going to put the house on it. Definitely would not recommend putting the house on either of the guys. I'm not betting on either of the guys, even though I have them projected as the winners. I have Kyle Larson projected as today's winner. 4.44 projected finish. And Denny Hamlin second at 4.58. Flip a coin on them, but their odds are too short for me to bet them. Like I said, I only have William Byron. And that's just because I got a good number on him earlier in the week. Looks like he is plus 600, I think, on DraftKings. So feel pretty good about the line. Although I got a boost. But I think he opened up at 750 or 800 most places. Contra says, I think Chris has Truex in the thumbnail. Oh yeah, I did put Truex on the thumbnail, didn't I? What's up, Rick? Happy Mother's Day and race day, folks. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. If you're watching. And my own. But yes, happy race day. I love Darlington. Love it, love it, love it. What's up, Manny? Rahul says, wishing all the mothers happy race. Of course. Battle God says, Byron, Reddick, Larson, and Hamlin crashing. I have no way of knowing that, unfortunately. So I cannot build in that scenario. What's the Darlington strategy, says Justin Sports? It's kind of the same as just really any intermediate, although there is more laps here compared to the others. Where we have 207, we have 293. 200 points matters a little bit more, but you're still looking at 2 DOMs for the most part. And if you can slide in a cheaper third one, that is basically the route you want to go. And then just your typical fill for the mid-range that offer place differential usually, and then maybe a cheap player too. 4th and 1 says he's got Logano. I don't really have Logano today. It's based off the price and starting spot. I know he's ran well here in the next gen, but just I think it's going to be hard for him to really do much. I got him projected to finish pretty much where he starts, which is just not going to get it done today. What's up, Mom? Just hi, buddy. Happy race day, NASCAR fam. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Feel like everyone go Logano. I just got done shaming Logano a little bit. But hopefully you're having a fantastic Mother's Day, Mom. Sorry I cannot be there. We're just a little bit far away. Concha says strategy is 2 in the front, 2 in the back, kind of in a sense, where you're going to want 2 of those big name drivers. Most people are going to flock to this place differential place. So hopefully I already answered that, Isaiah. I know I want to repeat myself, but I'm sure I answered that. Hamlin or Larson? That is the $1 million question today. I got him projected. So my Denny Hamlin projection is 64.58. My Kyle Larson projection is 64.44. You just can't get any closer than that. So, as flip a coin, I mean, I guess it would be Hamlin. You get the 1 extra spot, and Denny has just been so good this year. But so is Kyle Larson. That's like good luck. But I guess I'll take Denny there. Very close. But the Kyle Larson paint scheme this weekend is incredible. The old Kellogg's card, amazing. To me, it's Ernest T. It says, hey Chris, what drivers do you think are the best at Darlington since it's a rough track? And do some drivers that might not do well here. I mean, the best drivers are really just the ones that are expensive. That's why they're good here, and that's why they're expensive. It's Denny Hamlin, it's Kyle Larson, it's Reddick, it's Truex, it's William Byron. Those have been incredible drivers here at Darlington. And while the pricing might not reflect that, Eric Jones is very good here as well, but the car's obviously not that great. Then Ross is pretty good here, and then guys that I just don't think are going to do that well. Probably Ryan Blaney just doesn't have a great history here. Yeah, it's kind of like it. Like, I mean, there's just guys that are going to be mediocre here. For they're in decent cars, they'll run decently well. But the studs, we know who the studs are for the most part. Logano, Blaney, guys I'm probably not going to get to a ton of. Ty Gibbs. Daniel Rader says top 5 to win the race. So my projected finish order is Larson, Hamlin, Byron, Truex, and then Reddick. That'd be my top 5, and I would be shocked if that is not everybody's top 5. Pretty much reflects the Vegas odds. And I mean, if you just punch in numbers, similar tracks, and everything we've seen this year, I mean, that's pretty much who your top 5 should be. You can make a case for, I guess, any order of that, but. What's up, Danny? It's good afternoon, Chris, and happy Mother's Day. Here, Mom. Appreciate that. Who do I need, or what do I need to change in this DraftKings lineup? Larson, Byron, Bowman, Barry, Briscoe, Syndrome. I mean, if I was to change anything, I would probably say Briscoe. I don't have a ton of confidence there. His price point is $6,800. You already have Josh Berry, don't you? You already have Josh Berry. I mean, honestly, I'd be tempted to maybe even go with Michael McDowell over Chase Briscoe. You get a few extra spots, look great in practice, and has actually had some decent runs at Darlington before, maybe even Stenhouse. A couple guys. I mean, I'm kind of nitpicking, but if I was to change anything, I guess that's what it would be. Anthony says, thoughts on Jones on DraftKings? I like Jones. Someone told me he was a sleeper today, but I don't think he's going to be a sleeper. I imagine he's going to be very high owned. I mean, his path to around 40 points is not that difficult. I don't know. I mean, there's obviously the concern. Maybe his back hurts during the race and he just can't whip it around. I don't really know. But it's kind of hard to quantify that. If you're looking at practice, like, I don't know how much I want to put into practice, but it's not like he was slow out there. He was 13th, 15th, 10th, 10th, 10th. I mean, it's not like he was trash. See, Mitch says DraftKings cash, Byron, Reddick, Elliott, Gregson, Dillon, Haley. That's more of a tournament lineup, I think, with the Byron, Dillon, and Haley. That's not going to be on the chalk, really. So I'd say that's better suited for tournaments. Because I know place differential is always important, but is it like a focal point this week? Do we need to focus on DOMs or PD more at Darlington? It's just more of a balance. Like, if you just go full PD today, I don't think you're going to be able to take down any tournaments. You might be able to min cash. But if you, like, let's just say you build a lineup with Chase Elliott, Bowman, Gregson, Jones, Josh Berry, and I don't know what would fit at the end, but let's just say you threw in Truex. Like, Truex can get there, obviously, but I don't think he's going to be the main dom today. You're probably going to miss out on one of these guys starting in the top 7. That can lead a good chunk of laps. So it's just more like finding that balance. Like, I think a build would say Reddick and Larson, 2 guys starting in the top 6. Then you could fill it in with guys like Jones, Berry, and Noah Gregson. I think that's for Jones, whoever I forgot to say. It's perfectly fine. So it's just more of a balance today. What's up, Zan? Says, hating on Gibbs again, I see. First win incoming today. I think we've been saying that for like 2 years. Eventually, it'll happen, but I don't see it happening today. I just don't see a situation where he's going to be able to out-alpha guys like Hamlin, Larson. Like, he could run well, but for DFS purposes, it's kind of hard for where he's starting in 4th. Top 3 favorite sleepers today, says Daniel. Like, for tournaments, I think the RFK guys are strong in tournaments today. I mean, the only issue is their starting spots are brutal. If any issues happen today, they are going to be toast. So you need like a pristine race out of these guys, but it is possible. but just know there is a lot of risk. I think Bowman's a decent play. $8,000 starting 18th. I don't think he's going to get a lot of love. Didn't practice very well, but he is the cheapest Hendrick car and he offers you PD. He can just hang around 10th to 12th. Would not be a bad day. Hello, Miss Jewel. This is Hi Handsome. Hello, beautiful. Happy race day, everyone. And happy Dogmon day to you. It still counts, I guess. A little bit. Hopefully you're enjoying the pool. Feeling a RFK kind of day, says Rick. And I don't disagree. I wish they were starting a little bit further back. If Keselowski was starting like 12th today, I would be all over it. Starting in second is so tough. I'm still going to play him. But, man, there is just so much downside starting in second. Like, if he just does not steal a good chunk of fast laps today and finishes 9th, you're toast. That price point. Like, if we pull up the heat map here, not equating any dominator points, that could potentially happen. If Keselowski finishes 9th today, he's going to get 28 points. Throw in some fast laps. Maybe he gets 34, 35. Again, it's just not going to get the job done. So if you're playing Keselowski, he might have to get up front, or he's just going to have to steal like 20-some fast laps and finish top 5, which again is still probably not the best DFS day in the world. So just know there's a lot of risk here, but Chris Buescher has an easier path to mine. And usually I would say stack the RFK cars because if one's running well, the other one's going to run well. We saw it last week, although Keselowski took the 4 tires at the end, I believe, with Martin Truex Jr. and kind of killed his good finish. But Buescher was cooking. Keselowski was cooking. He was flying through the field at the end. Issue is if you're stacking them, you're playing 2-3, and then you probably have another guy starting at the top 6, so it's kind of hard to do that. I do like Barry today. He's just starting too far back. He should be able to limp his way to at least gaining close to 10 spots. Darren says, cash core for DraftKings. For me, it'd be Chase Elliott. I like Eric Jones, and I like Noah Gregson. Those are really good starting points for cash games. They offer you place differential upside, and they all have top 15 potential. Who would I prioritize on DraftKings, Reddick or Elliott? Reddick pops more for me than Chase Elliott because Reddick has that 100-point ceiling. Chase Elliott's not going to do that. So I would say for playing tournaments, and honestly, Reddick would be like the fine cash dom, although you can make a case for any of these guys. That's why I didn't really specify, can't talk, which dom I would say I'd go in cash game, because if you said you want to play Kyle Larson over Reddick in cash today, I don't have an issue with that. But Hamlin over Larson, I'm okay with that too. So it's really just what everyone fits with the mid-range guys for me. So if it's cash games, I'd prioritize Elliott. If not, I would say Reddick just because he has that higher ceiling. He can dominate 100 laps. What's up, Pugsley? Larson for the win. I mean, I haven't projected to win, but I'm not betting it. Definitely not betting it at those odds. So it says, how do you like Byron, Truex, Keselowski, Gregson, Cindric, and Zane Smith? I'm not huge on Zane Smith today, but I do like the rest. Zane is $5,600. I'd personally rather play Todd Gilliland, Harrison Burton, even Justin Haley over Zane today. Reddick, Larson, or Reddick, Chase to start for DraftKings cash. I would probably go with Reddick and Chase there because I want Chase in cash because if one of your doms miss in cash games and Chase Elliott just comes out there and scores an easy 60 and your dom gets 40, it could really hurt you. So I would probably lean the Chase Elliott route. And Chase Elliott's been great. Like he could certainly top 5 today, and I wouldn't be overly surprised. I don't have it projected to go that way because of where he's starting. He's definitely got some work to do in traffic, but I mean, Chase seems to be back. He has been great. Tim says, if you were forced to pick a couple of top 3 drivers, who would you go with? I mean, if money's not an issue, I would want Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and Truex. That would be my top 3. Pugsley says, Reddick, Byron, Elliott, Jones, John Hunter, Nemechek, Haley, and Turney's. Why do I hate it? Probably because of John Hunter, if I had to guess. The rest looks good, though. Not sure if I really trust John Hunter today. Starting in 22nd, he just, I don't know, he always seems to screw up. Whatever it may be. What's up, Grade A? Says, is today a slate to leave some salary? So far, my FanDuel 20 max lineups, I have a few lineups of 2,000 left over. A couple with around 1,000 on FanDuel today. On DraftKings, I would say no. On FanDuel, I have seen myself having some cash on the table in some of these optimals. Like my 5th highest projected lineup leaves $2,000 on the table, which is Hamlin, Truex, Elliott, Gregson, and Cindric. So I think that's fine. FanDuel. DraftKings, I would try to get the most out of my salary cap. And no, I don't think I'll be doing any team stacks today because I just think it's kind of all over the board. Like I like okay, I like Joe Gibbs cars, I like Thunder cars, and I think they could all mesh together. So I would not be just specifically doing team stack, which I don't usually anyway. What's up, Triple G? Says just got in. Who are the 2 chalk drivers for DraftKings? Chase Elliott, no Gregson will probably be at the top of the board. What's up, Norman? Says good afternoon, Chris. Who is your dominator? My top dominators today, percentage-wise, are going to be I'll give you the top 5. Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., and then just outside that top 5 are Keselowski and Busch. Michael says, stats say the winners come from the top 10 80% of the time. If that is true, how many would be too many that start in the top 10? I mean, that just doesn't exactly equate to DFS purposes. But a lot of my lineups looks like I'll have 2 to 3 guys in the top 10. But outside of that, I don't think I'd want to push it more. I'd say 2 to 3. Dave says, think having McDowell, Jones, and Singletary on FanDuel throwing money out the window? No, not throwing money out the window. Jones will be popular on both sides. McDowell will keep you a little bit different, but McDowell has not been bad at Darlington. Pull up his numbers here. So he's got 2 top 10 finishes in 4 race sample size here. And McDowell's definitely been looking pretty solid this year as well. And based off of practice, which I do not think he's going to be this good during the race, but he showed speed. It's not a bad 7th the 15 lap, 6th in the 10, 11th in the 20. Like, he should be able to hang around that top 15, top 20, which on FanDuel, that's not a bad day because if you were chasing these pump plays on FanDuel and they end up finishing like 26 and McDowell just throws out a 14th, that's a pretty darn good day. What are my feelings on Bubba here? He's had some decent runs, but I just don't really have him projecting too well. Starts in 8th. I'd rather get the Bowman personally. I just have him projected better by a couple of points. But I am not huge on Bubba just because of the starting point, and they can be very inconsistent. Is the only issue. But he does have 3 top 10s here in 4 races, so he's not been bad by any means. But I just am having a tougher time to get to him a lot because of the starting spot. I feel like at the end of the day, Bowman and Wallace probably finish pretty close to each other. And I can get 10 extra spots out of Bowman. I just populate towards him a little more. Is Reddick a cash game lock? No, I don't think any of the DOMs up top are a lock for cash. It would really just be a matter of what fits my lineup. Just because I have them. Usually I have one guy that just stands out. Like last week I had Larson by like 10 points on the field. This week it's just so tight. Like I have Byron, Truex, Reddick, Larson, Hamlin all within 4 points. And that's just because if someone tells you they have a strong stance of one guy's just going to absolutely destroy the field, I don't know where the data points coming from. Like Larson's good here, Hamlin's good here. They've both been great this year. Reddick, great at Darlington, is on the pole, great spot to be in. Truex has been great. Like I just don't really see how we can have such a strong lean on one of them, especially when in practice they were all kind of all over the place. Can Elliott slip up to the top 5? He can. I don't think it's likely. I have Elliott top 5 16.8% of the time. Any worries about Bowman's practice times? I'm having a hard time just really caring about practice too much. Like if we look at the numbers here, Christopher Bell, 36 in the 5, 33rd in the 10, 30th in the 15. Guys were in traffic. Could have killed their tires. Denny Hamlin, 31st in the 15, 17th in the 10. Do we really think that Austin Cindric, who was 1st and 2nd through the 10 and 30 lap runs, is going to be better than Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski even? I just don't really see that being the case. So I just don't really think we can look at the practice too much. Because based off of that, we're going to have some really, really good cars that have been great this year. They qualified well, we're going to suck. And I just don't think that's going to happen. What's up, Coach? Says, What's up, guys? Just getting here. What's up, Chris? How are you, brother? I am fantastic. Hopefully, you're having a great Sunday as well. Xavier says, Jones' injury concerns being a long race, maybe a little bit. A little bit. It's just something hard that I don't really know how to quantify. I'm going to play him. We'll see what happens. Hopefully the back holds up. We'll see. He starts far enough back to where we don't need perfection. We don't need an 8th place finish from Jones. Limp me across the top 20, and I will take it. Darren says, Hamlin, Reddick, Cindric, Bowman, Gregson, Barry, okay for GK Cash. I feel like you're missing somebody. I don't know who it is. Maybe Elliott. I'd play Elliott in cash games. But other than that, good. But I would probably have Elliott. Yes, the Fords were strong in the 15 averages. But again, do I think Cindric? Do I think Gilliland? First in the 20, first in the 25. Like, Gilliland was first in the 20 lap. Denny Hamlin's 20th. Do I think Todd Gilliland's going to be 19 cars better than Denny Hamlin today? No. Not at all. So what do we make of practice? I don't know. Nothing, I guess. Okay, says, just finished baseball lineups. What did I miss? Not much. I do my baseball lineups before live, too. What's up, Andre? Happy race day and happy Mother's Day to all the amazing mothers out there. Absolutely. What's up, Mike? Says Reddick, Elliott, Keselowski, Gibbs, Dylan, Haley, single entry GPP. I don't love having 1, 2, and 4 in my lineup there. I would probably switch that around a little bit for me personally. Because if you're playing Reddick and Keselowski together, it just doesn't really work that well because if one's leading, the other one's not. And if Keselowski is not leading, yeah, I don't think he's going to work out at that price point. So for me, like if I'm building 150 lineups, maybe I get some Keselowski, some Reddick. But if I'm doing a single entry, like you were doing, I think that's just way too much to bank on. And you have Ty Gibbs too. I mean, all 3 of those guys are not going to work out together, I don't think. I think in that specific lineup, the Reddick, Gibbs, take out Keselowski would make more sense. Yes, I can, Andre. I mean, it's basically all the guys that project well. Just copy and paste those. But yeah, I can fill that out. Elliott versus Ross. For DFS, I'm taking Elliott. Finish-wise, I have Ross higher, but yeah, I'm looking at baseball. Someone just homered. Who is it? Christopher Moreau? All right. I would take that. 10%. Anyway. Michael says, Reddick, Keselowski, Busher, Byron, Larson, Hamlin, Chastain, Truex, and my Doms. I thought there was a lineup. I was like, I think you ran out of money about 3 drivers ago. Am I missing anyone or should I take out? It looks good to me. You could potentially add Ty Gibbs in there just because of the starting spot. But I think you're good outside of that. I'd set that to at least 2. Mark says, thoughts on Larson, Bowman, Elliott, Barry, Gregson, Haley, Burton, or Burton for a GPP on draft. All right, so you only have 1 guy in the top 10, so you're banking on a Larson clinic. And then you just have a Hendrick stack going. I'm all right with it. But just know, I mean, if there's a second Dom that takes over out of Larson, you're going to be a little bit behind for tournament. But if it is spread out and Larson ends up leading the most, fine. What's up, DGen Stoner? Glad to have you from Garden City, Colorado. Michael says, thoughts on Bell and Bush. I'm not getting to them, really. I mean, someone's got to get... Some of these guys just got to start getting cut out. So Bell, I don't really see being a dominator. And then Bush, I don't really see being a dominator either. So are they guys that can run well? Yes. Are they going to score enough DFS points today? Probably not. Oh, Sean. So starting a lineup with 2 expensive Doms. Pick 2. I will go with Truex. And I will go with... I mean, it's so tough between Reddick, Larson, and Hamlin. I guess I'll just go with Reddick and Truex. My only concern with Reddick is I just feel like that team screws up on pit road at some point. So let's just hope he leads enough laps early on to make it worth it when he slips down to 12th at some point and has to battle his way back. How much McLeod ownership is too much? I mean, I'd say maybe 40% is probably a little bit too much, but 30% is probably fine for today. Darren says, Buescher, Elliott, or Hamlin and Cindric. Ooh. Okay, so let's see. Projection-wise, I have Buescher at 37. I have Elliott at 52. Right around 90 points. We have Hamlin at 64. And Cindric, 28. I guess I'll go with the Hamlin. I think Hamlin's got the higher ceiling because Hamlin can come out and dominate. I really don't think Elliott's going to have that potential today. Truex or Elliott? I will go with Truex. HR junk and stuff. This is Larson, Truex, Elliott, Gregson, LaJoy, and Hemrick. A good play. I don't love Hemrick today. I'm not seeing a ton of upside for him. So if I can maybe switch that around a little bit. The rest are solid though. You see Ty Gibbs finishing top 10. I have Ty Gibbs finishing top 10 45% of the time. So, I mean, I guess technically no. But it'll be very borderline, I think. I have him projected for 11.97 projected finish. So we're teetering the line. Mundo says, what's your preferred line of construction, balanced or stars and scrubs? I feel like it's almost in the middle of balanced stars and scrubs. Like, I don't want to be playing Burton and Haley in the same lineup, really. I think one of those guys is fine. But I mostly would want 2 of these 10K drivers in my lineups. And then if you can fit in Chase too, great. But I don't... Like, Chase is the cash game play. He's the FanDuel play. But he is not a lock. Just because if he's not going to get those dominator points, and let's just say Reddick comes out, leads 100. Byron comes out, leads 100. They're going to way outscore Chase Elliott, but the floors are a lot lower. What's up, Sean? Says Reddick or Byron on FanDuel Cash. Thanks as always for what you do. I have Byron a little bit higher than Reddick just because the starting spot. And those dominator points aren't going to add up as much on FanDuel, so I guess I'd say Byron. Although, I do think Reddick will be higher owned, but just the dominator points don't matter. It's DraftKings, easily Reddick. FanDuel, I'm going to slightly lean towards Byron because we have a little bit more of a cushion. Jeff Windsor says 5,500 or under. DraftKings driver. First one that pops for me is Harrison Burton, which I hate Harrison Burton, but fortunately he shows up. Anybody to the back? Not that I know of. Well, Bob's Twitter, although I have a Bob bot from my Discord that posts all of his tweets, and my goodness, he has been on one today. I think we're like at 50 tweets. All right, Bob just tweeted 17 minutes ago, no cars to the rear after the morning check, so we are good to go. And hopefully no weather. I specifically started my video out last week saying, it looks like the weather in Kansas is going to be great this weekend. And that's what it said. And then, well, you know, we end up having a night race because it rains. Big blob of rain that popped up. What do you think, Todd Gillen top 10 today? I do not. I have Gillen top 10 6.6% of the time. I can't do it. Maybe I'm not a believer in the practice times as much as I should be, but I can name 10 cars easily that are going to be up Gillen today. Concha says, when you're talking about practice. I've seen that clip. But yes, practice has been a bit of a question mark this weekend. SK says, Buescher or Bowman for cash game. Whew. I have Buescher projected better, but he does not feel like a cash play at all. I feel way more comfortable with Bowman. Because Buescher's got those dominator points factored in. What's up, Andy? Says I'm here. Also, how can I become a mod? Thank you. You'll have to talk to the guys in the workshop with the wrenches. What's up, Raider? Vandal single entry, Larson, Truex, Bowman, Elliott, McDowell, or Larson, Truex, Bowman, Chastain, Hocevar. I think I'll go with the McDowell route. I like that lineup better overall. Who'd your top two doms for single entry be? For cash, it's probably like Reddick and Larson, but if it's a single entry, so we're getting off the chalk a little bit, I like Denny Hamlin and Truex. Denny has shown me nothing this year other than think that he will get up front at some point. He's just been that good. He get intermediates. He's been great at Darlington. I see no reason why Denny can't be a contender today. We get a little bit of PD mixed in. And then I love Truex today. Once again, he has been incredible. I was looking at, excluding road courses, excluding super speedways, top 4 average running position this year, Hamlin, Larson, Truex, Chase Elliott. And I don't think Chase Elliott's going to be the 4th best average running position today, but I don't see why Truex, Larson, Hamlin are going to crush today. So give me the guys with the extra PD, and I think they're going to be less owned than Larson and Reddick. Aaron says the Hamlin and Larson clinic, certainly possible. Hocevar is playable today. Hocevar is the same play every week, I think. He starts 21st, and you just kind of have to hope he hangs around 21st. I am projected to lose a couple of spots, so I'm not really super high on Hocevar today, but same play as he is every week, it seems like. I don't really like Blenny this weekend, Jay Swift. We just have to start making cuts at these price points, and like, sure, do I think he can gain 7 spots? Yes, but at $9,000, I'm getting you a little bit more. If I'm going to play him at all today, it'd be on FanDuel. I'm not forcing any of him in my lineups. And he will not be in any like single entry 3 max builds for me. You do love Ron John, don't you? But I will not be at Publix today. I don't really go to Publix too often anyway because everything is triple the price there. Skylar says, thoughts on Larson, Elliott, Chastain, Jones, Berry, and Derek Krause. I cannot give you the go-ahead on Derek Krause personally. I like the rest, but I just can't say yes to Krause. Charles says, who are my predicted finishers 6 through 10? Let's just do 11 and 20 next. 6 through 10 for me is going to be Keselowski, Bell, Buescher, Ross, and then Busch. My 6 through 10 or 6 through 11, I wasn't really counting. Where do I have Gillen placing? I gave Todd 23rd, which is pretty on market, a little bit below. Like, the books have Suarez and Stenhouse finishing better, or finishing worse than Gillen, but I have them above him. So, I'm pretty on par with his odds, but I'm a little bit below on a couple other guys. Casty had a homer? Pretty sure I had him in one. I did. Actually, better yet, Castellanos was in my moral lineup, so it looks great. All right, thank you for the good news. This could be a good baseball day. Pugsley says, Larson, Reddick, Bowman, Jones, Gregson, Haley in tournaments leaves me $400. That is a good-looking lineup. Love the 2 doms. You got Bowman, Jones, Gregson, and Haley is perfectly fine as a punt. So that works. Yes, happy Mother's Day to Joy. Vandal best value play. I said baby, but I'm just going to assume you meant play. Me, that would be Gregson, if he counts his value. Also, I saw Justin just signed up over on Patreon, so I do appreciate that if you're watching. Where you can find all that. It's where you can find all the access to the stuff I'm answering for you guys. If you just want to see it and use it, it's all there. Carlos says, am I too far out in left field fading Eric Jones? I don't think it's crazy. There's so many other plays around him that you can play, like Chris Buescher, Alex Bowman, Gregson. Like, you don't have to play Eric Jones. Are a lot of people going to today? Yes. I think this is for a decent reason, but there are certainly other plays you can get to. Buescher, Bowman, and Turney's already have Larson, Reddick. I got Buescher projected better, so I guess I'd have to say Buescher. I told the one guy, if it's cash games, Bowman, which I would agree with, even though it doesn't project as well. But I guess if it's a turn, I'll go with Busher. It's kind of scary having 3 guys in the top 6, though, but I could all see them hanging around there. Daryl says, Truex, Bell, Chastain, Busher, Cindric, Burton. I am not huge on Bell today, personally. And you don't have anybody really that I think can lead at the very beginning that I don't love. So if you could swap Bell for maybe... I mean, that's one of those builds where Keselowski could work out because you don't... Oh, you already have Busher. So I guess with Busher it works, but I'm just not the biggest fan of Bell today. Kraus 2000 on FanDuel for me. I am going to be Xing out Kraus on FanDuel when I build. I will not have Derek Kraus today. Especially on FanDuel. I mean, on DraftKings, I get it if you're just trying to... If he's the very last piece fit and you just need a punt. On FanDuel, though, I don't think there's any reason to. Alton says, Byron Reddick, Truex, Gillen, Haley, and Gregson. Thank you. I don't love the 310K builds because then you have to do the Gillen Haley thing. For me, 2 of those guys probably makes the most sense. Mark says he's watching race day and it looks clear. Good. I don't think we have any weather concerns. I know the truck race didn't start till 10. Ended up getting some rain, unfortunately. I lost the chat. Where'd it go? There. Better finish Bell, Chastain, or Bush? I have Bell of that group. Just for Bell. Center says he feels attacked. Was it me? I didn't mean to. Daniel says, race day, baby. The Lady in the Black. Who's your favorite playing the 6K range on DraftKings GPP? And would you rather just skip it to move to the 5K? Also, a specific take on Barry and Gregson chalk. No, I mean the 6K range is loaded. You have Josh Berry. Well, didn't say loaded. It's got Josh Berry and it's got Austin Cindric. Outside of that, it's not loaded. I was thinking of the 7K range, but no, I mean I wouldn't really specifically move to it. Just be whatever fits there. But I do like the Barry and Gregson chalk. They're just starting too far back. Their car should be fast enough to be able to move up. I have Barry finishing right around 23rd today, which is more than fine at his price point, starting in 33rd. And there's always upside for more. It's not like he's in the worst car in the field by any means. And then Noah Gregson's just kind of just too easy to get to. I always put a hex on these guys. If he does not wreck, I know, I'm sorry. I'm gonna wreck now. He's kind of like a walk in the park for the off almost at this price point. Sam says, is Ty Gibbs a good play today? I am not really playing him much for me. And he says, is Truex going to dominate today? I feel like. I think he will at some point. I'd be very shocked if Truex is not contending for the lead at some point in this. Everything we've seen this year, from what we've seen in Darlington before in the past, he should be good. It's just funny because it seems that I see more Ron John and Salt Life stuff here in Colorado than when I lived in Florida. Really? I know everyone down here, you see like a Salt Life sticker on the back of their Jeep usually. Busher or Kess? I like the savings on Busher. I would agree with you. If I had to pick, I have Keselowski projected higher, but when Busher's $1,500 cheaper, just give me Busher. Kevin says, Hamlin, Larson, Elliott, McDowell, Dillon, FanDuel lineup. Ooh, I don't really like the McDowell Dillon double cheap there. I'd be all right with one of them. So if you could maybe move down Hamlin, Larson, one of those guys down to like maybe a Truex would save you some money, or a little bit you could bump up Dillon. What's up, David? I got Larson, Reddick, Busher, Haley, Gregson, and Jones. Thoughts? I think it's a great lineup. Like seriously, this looks really good. I have no complaints about it. Any clear mispriced drivers on FanDuel? I mean, I think Truex is probably a little bit too cheap on FanDuel. Mispricings, though, I wouldn't really say there's a mispricing. Busher's cheap. Gregson cheap's where he's starting. But I really wouldn't say there's like a mispricing. But Truex, I'm gonna have a lot of Truex on FanDuel just because even if he doesn't dominate, if he finishes third, it's a great day for FanDuel because I mean there's dominator points, especially if they get spread out between these guys up top. It's just not gonna matter much. Any LaJoy love today? Not love. He's just one of those guys. If he pops up in the end, he pops up. But no strong stance at all. Hockey Freak Sean says, how much salary on average are people using? I would say mostly all of it because you're jamming in those studs. And everyone's going to want to get Chase Elliott in as well. Jake says, the top 4 finishers today, for me projected, it's going to be Larson, Halen, Byron, and Truex. Says, chug a mason jar of water with the current. I don't even have water with me. I forgot it. So good thing we're near the end, or I'm going to start drying out here. Mike says, last spot, 8,500 left. I have 2 DOMs and 3 PD guys so far. 8,500 bucks. I'm assuming you already have Gregson and Jones. So if you don't, one of those guys. But other than that, projections, it's Busher, then Barry, then Bowman. So, I don't know which ones you have, but there's your list. Byron or Truex, ask Ryan. I'm going to go with Truex. I feel like very similar plays, but I get 5 extra spots with Martin. What's up, Rick? FanDuel, Elliott, Larson, Bowman, Hamlin, Gillen. What are your thoughts? Would you change someone? I am not high on Gillen for FanDuel. I still got to build, but I don't see myself going there too often. But if you're stuck in that price range, kind of like the one guy you'd go to, him or Harrison Burton, I guess. The Chrome Horn. I mean, that's a really tough contest, but I'd say winning that one was probably the hardest one and the biggest. But it was at Bristol. It was definitely a fun race. Ryan says, Byron or Truex? Already answered that one. Barry, McDowell or Jones. Haley, DraftKings Tourneys. I think I have that as Jones and Haley. Stenhouse or McDowell tournaments. I have Stenhouse projected 0.8 points higher. I'll go with Ricky. A little bit more PD. Kraus, Reddick, Halen, Byron, Gibbs on FanDuel. Only play if you want all your hopes and dreams crushed like a baby seal. Those old pieces. I have no idea what you're talking about. But it was funny. But yeah, I can't. I just don't see a situation where Kraus works out on FanDuel. Foster says, what's too far back of a starting spot for a dominator for you? Today, I don't really see anybody starting outside of the top 12 that could really dominate. Mainly the top 10, though, like Truex. I don't really see who would dominate outside of the top 10. Maybe if Chase gets track position at some point, he could, but I don't really see anybody else having a shot to dominate. Byron or Truex better finish? I believe I have Byron just slightly higher. Cindric or Hocevar, I'll go with Austin Cindric. Yeah, those 0.8 points are going to make it. Yeah, no problem at all, Pugsley. Thoughts on Logano? I think Logano's too expensive today for what he's going to offer us, so I am just kind of passing on him. If I was to play Joey today, it'll be on FanDuel rather than DraftKings. Like Liker says, there are a lot of wrecks at Darlington. There can be. This is a very tough track. Very tough track. There's going to be, I imagine there's going to be some deaths today. I'd love to know who, but unfortunately I do not. Need a crystal ball for that, but there will be deaths. Is it going to be Daytona? No. Priest or Nemechek? Oh, God. Nemechek. But we're down in the dumps there. All right, I got out the chat. I still got to build. I got, what? Winslock? Clock is in at 3 p.m. on FanDuel. What, 3:15 something on Draft. And all right. Sorry, I'm just taking some baseball lineups. Any more questions here? Dakota says, is it bad to put Truex, Reddick, and Busher in the same lineup? No, I don't think it's crazy. I think you can do that just because Busher was cheap. DJ says, that's I get hit by lightning, then hit by a bus. Fair enough. Mark says Barry, Gregson, Bowman, Elliott Jones, and Truex, a good DraftKings build for tournament. If it's tournaments, I want 2 guys throwing in the top 10 to soak up some downer points. So that's a good looking lineup. I'd probably swap one of these guys and try to get like a Truex and like Truex Larson, something like that. I think the optimal will probably have 2 Doms. No problem at all, Mark. All right, I'm going to get out of here, guys. I appreciate y'all being here. Well, let me answer a couple more. Top 5 plays on FanDuel. Chase Elliott, Gregson, Truex. Guys, I'm just getting to a ton. Also, Jones, Hamlin popping up a lot for me over on FanDuel. The chalk today, Elliott, Gregson, Jones, Reddick will be very chalky today. I would take Gregson over Briscoe pretty easily for DFS purposes. Yep, see you, Dave. I'll be in the Discord. Those of you over there. And I'll answer Alton and I'll get out of here. Byron, Truex, Busher, McDowell, Barry, and Gregson. I like it. You get the 2 guys up top that can dominate. Busher's kind of like a hybrid because he's cheap. And McDowell, Barry, Gregson, I'm on those guys. Sure. All right. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Make sure if you haven't already, tell your mom Happy Mother's Day. But wish her the best. Hopefully Darlington is nice to us. A lady in the black. Hopefully she doesn't bite us. I'm sure she will at some point. Hopefully not too hard. All right. See y'all next week, which is the All-Star race. That'll be fun.